Parts of this new U.S. partnership mean we're actually going to cooperate when we communicate our message outside of Canada. We decided to go on a trade mission together, first time ever. 3 premiers, and you know, when last week we were in China and in Japan, and I'll tell you what, the doors in the capitals of those 2 countries and in the financial centers of those 2 companies were open to the new West partnership. There is strength in numbers. There is strength in this region of our country, because when we go to China and Japan together as one, we represent 91% of Canada's oil and 94% of Canada's natural gas and 99% of Canada's coal. We represent 100% of Canada's uranium. Actually, we represent 100% of Canada's uranium, and China and Japan are interested in talking to us. We represent 257,000 square miles of crop production land. One of their most important sources for canola, for wheat and for barley and for beef. We need to open up those markets, and so there we were together, opening up a trade office in Shanghai, opening up markets in those places as part of the new U.S. partnership. There was a media question in Shanghai that I answered. The question was, why did it take the Western provinces so long to do this? Why is it taking you so long to come together in this way? The reporter, of course, was intimating that it makes a lot of sense. And I told her the story about a rancher near Swift Current who I heard say once that there are really 2 best times to plant a tree, 20 years ago and today. We didn't do it 20 years ago, but together with Alberta and British Columbia, we are going to do it today and send a message to the country in North America that Western Canada not only is interested in protecting its interests, but in contributing to the country and to North America and to the world economy in ways that we haven't even imagined up until now. So we will... It's the best part of my job, is to represent all of you. I can tell you one quick story. When we were in China, we met with the China National Petroleum Corporation and tried to encourage their interest in shale gas and oil sands and carbon capture and sequestration technology. And we thought we would just sign a small agreement when we left there, but they literally asked when I was leaving, and we worked out a larger agreement. But when we pulled up to this year-old office building in Beijing, this marble building that looks like it could be on Wall Street, we got out of the sedan. 2 members of the Chinese Red Army saluting the Saskatchewan delegation. That part wasn't like Wall Street. Yet. But we walked into the marble lobby, and there in this LED light sign that was 8 feet by 20 feet was Saskatchewan's name. Welcome, Honorable Premier Wall, Province of Saskatchewan, and that's what it said on the other side of the lobby in Mandarin, or at least that's what they said. And you know, it was hard not to feel just a little bit proud of the attention that Saskatchewan's getting around the world, because we were a hot topic at every meeting because of uranium and oil and food security issues. And I was kind of feeling pretty good. I phoned home the next morning, which would have been later in the day here, and I talked to one of our senior staff, and they put things in perspective. I told him the whole story about the sign and the saluting, and he said, well, actually, we had a rally here at the legislature, and your name was on the signs here, and they were saluting you in that great Saskatchewan way. We're going to continue to engage with the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the last part of our growth agenda has been innovation. Our 3-legged stool for innovation is to build our ag biotech industry. We have a third of Canada's agricultural biotech sector in our province. We want to build on that. We also want to invest in uranium value-added opportunities, and the trip to Asia underscored the importance of that. Hitachi wants to work with us on nuclear medicine and other ways to add value to this great resource we have. And finally, that third leg of our innovation stool very much impacts on Regina. You are a world center in carbon capture and sequestration. The world knows what's going on here. They know what our government is trying to do in terms of clean coal. There's partnership offers in China and in Japan. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the international center, I believe, for clean coal technology development. And if our government has any say about it at all, we're going to make the investments necessary to solidify that leadership position for the Queen City and the University of Regina. So that's the growth agenda. And ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about this. It is not the end game. It has never been the end game. It's our number one priority, but it's never been the end game. Our plan for the government, our vision for government is not about bar charts and statistics, and we see and welcome the statistics about average weekly earnings and building permits and wholesale trade, but that's not what it's about. What it's about is what growth pays for, what a growing tax base can pay for. Growth provides affordable housing projects in the city of Regina. It makes sure we can partner with Habitat for Humanity to build Maple Leaf Estates and Harbor House in separate projects. Those two projects provide low-income men and women with their children apartments, places to live. That's what growth provides. New group homes and respite programs for that family in Regina that has been waiting years with their adult, intellectually disabled child for that space, for the dignity of independence, for programming that they need, for respite that parents who've given everything they have need. That's what growth provides for. That's why we seek to expand the GDP and to see those bar charts increase. The chance to work with First Nations to reduce the gap of educational outcomes for First Nations and the rest of us. That's what growth pays for. Finally, spending a little capital dollars in the education infrastructure in this city, $82 million in 53 school projects, Scott Collegiate, Douglas Park, Campbell Collegiate, $750,000 at Liable with the City of Regina. That's what growth pays for. That's why we're engaged in this growth agenda. The number of children living in overcrowded foster parents' homes has decreased by 1/3. And there is more work to be done, but we're going to get the job done because that's what growth pays for. Reducing healthcare wait times, that's what growth pays for. Supporting new citizens through English as a second language and open door societies with increased historic government funding, that's what growth pays for. That's why this party and this government talks a lot about economic growth. When you hear that, understand we're talking about the people, your neighbors, and improving the quality of life of the province that we love. There are some in Saskatchewan, mercifully few, but some who very recently have said Saskatchewan is in decline. They have said that we are in a free fall economically, and that's a quote. The implication is that our best days are maybe behind us. They are wrong. They were wrong when they said those things even in the midst of a worldwide recession for the reasons that I've mentioned, and they are wrong today. It is not that your Saskatchewan won't face setbacks and challenges in the future. We will. The difference is how we respond. In the old Saskatchewan, any little setback could cause periods of paralysis or stagnation, but in the new Saskatchewan, your Saskatchewan, you are making sure that we respond to those setbacks with determination. We respond to them with good decisions, long-term decisions.